I'll have my gold, and I'll have your blood, and hell can have your soul. I'm John Rantham with a retro review of Wuthering Heights from 1939, one of the many, many adaptations of the classic novel by Emily Bront across the big and small screen, and with the upcoming one with Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi, with direction by Emerald Fennell, I decided to check out this classic that still mostly holds up some nearly 90 years later. Who was alive in 1939? Let me know in the comments. If you were, congratulations for making it this far. God bless you. So anyway, for those that know the story, you know it. For those that don't, basically it's known as the greatest love story. It's really not, because there are a lot of really dickish, prickish characters that are out for their own goddamn things and either want riches or basically want people all for themselves despite not wanting to sacrifice anything. Now, different adaptations will twist things around, and this only includes basically half of the material. There's 34 chapters in the book. This does about 16 or 17 of them. This was directed by William Wyler, who did Best Years of Our Lives, Roman Holiday, Ben-Hur, Funny Girl, and other projects. And those last three in particular, some filmmakers could only dream of creating 3 films in their lifetime that are as revered as those. So, this novel was adapted to the big screen by Charles MacArthur, who did Crime Without Passion, and then Ben Hach, who did Farewell to Arms, Monkey Business. And we get Heathcliff, not the cat, not the wonderful, wonderful cat, played by Sir Laurence Olivier, who was a star of the British stage at this point, and really had a bit of an ego about him, according to facts on IMDb and other factoids you may check out, to the point where William basically had to beat it out of him. Now, Laurence Olivier, Lawrence of Arabia, and many other films, tremendous actor, apparently did not get along that well with Merle Oberon, who plays Kathy. So, basically, their angst towards each other really permeated across the screen. I mean, whatever you're watching this on, whether you have it on VHS, DVD, or you watch it on a streaming service like I just watched it on HBO Max, you can really tell that they did not get along all that well. It was to the point that Laurence was a bit of a prick, and William basically made him apologize. Also, Laurence was not a fan of how William wanted to do numerous takes of various things, and he wasn't the only actor who said that, but William Wyler, tremendous filmmaker, just demanded perfection. And especially back then, you know, film was at a premium. You could imagine how annoying it would get. Even if you had carte blanche, it would get very, very annoying to do that stuff because some shoots can take really long. Was not a big financial success. Had to have a re-release a number of years later to turn a profit. Did win Best Cinematography at the Oscars, so at least there's that. And is told from the perspective of the main maid, as it were, the hired help, the whatever the hell you want to call her, whatever they called her back then. Ellen, played by Flora Robson. Not Here's to You, Mrs. Robson, you know, Jesus loves you more than you may know. Oh, no, no, no. And we do have Edgar, not of Figaro Castle, who is played by David Nevin. And I want to say right now, you look at this cast and you look at like the stuff that they were in, pretty much everybody in this goddamn cast is dead. I don't think even the people that played the young versions of them are still alive. We do get Donald Crisp. I wonder if they got any crisps on set. Dr. Kent. Actually, I think this was, they imported, flowers from England to give it that feel. So, because I believe they filmed this in California. Geraldine Fitzgerald was Isabella in this. Hugh Williams, pretty good actor there. And Leo G. Carroll, very good character actor, was born in 1886 and apparently died sometime in, I believe, 72. So he was 85 goddamn years old. That's a hell of a goddamn legacy to leave. But you want to hear the story about Heathcliff and Kathy, the greatest love story? No, it's really not the greatest love story. You don't even have to necessarily read a lot of the book to realize that. Look at excerpts. If you want to read the book, go ahead. But dear God, you see any of this, and there's different spins and stuff on what's going on with, like who's getting more of the focus and everything. And everybody can have different interpretations of it. It is a deep story, 34 chapters, so you have to almost do a mini-series to cover everything properly. And for 1939, I think they did a pretty good job adapting it and doing some stuff. And they did focus mostly on Heathcliff and Kathy, though I did appreciate Isabella Geraldine getting some screen time. Actually pretty good overall. I'm going to talk about a few facts and everything and recount a little bit of like my favorite parts of it. But yeah, it took place in the 19th century instead of 1771 to 1801, which is apparently where the book took place. I read the book once in school. Like, I'm sorry, I don't have it committed to memory. I remember being a pretty good book, but, you know, for any teenagers of this age, you would get kind of bored about all this. So, nevertheless, Laurence admitted that his ego needed to be kept in check, and his ego was kept in check, and, or, you know, knocked down and everything, and that's good. I miss the fanfare music to open up a lot of these movies where they're like, boom, boom, it's like this big old orchestra and everything, and then we get introduced to our story. And then you need to stay off the moors. Yeah, Mary Tyler Moore. Good old MST3K reference. But the Yorkshire Moors, it just sounds like a variation of Yorkshire pudding. Is that actually a dish over in the UK? And then this one guy shows up, this very old guy, you know, back when old, you know, people could just show up in a snowstorm and gain a room just without paying anything. So we see older Heathcliff. Heathcliff is not doing all that well in particular. And there's a big old draft going on here because I shudder to think of what would happen with the windows being so drafty. I'm sorry for the bad puns. And then we basically are in the bridal room where, you know, Heathcliff basically tells the old man, you need to get the hell out of here. Oh, you're seeing a ghost? No, this isn't very good. You shouldn't be seeing stuff. He basically sees Kathy's ghost out in the snow. And then Heathcliff decides to run out. By the way, then we get the recounting from Ellen of all this while all this shit's going on. So yeah, it was Kathy. Who's Kathy? A girl who died. Oh, I don't believe in ghosts. Well, I guess busting those make you feel good, pal. Yeah, it's just a flashback movie because, I mean, we pretty much start at the end and then work our way, you know, like, work our way to that point. So, Earnshaw just is a funny name. I don't know why. So, basically, he found Heathcliff as a young boy on the streets, dirty, brought him to be some hired help. Hindley is Kathy's brother and a full-on dick, and you might even think that the young lad was drinking at the time with the fact of how he was treating him. And the dad even says, you know, we have stuff, but we need to show our love and appreciation and share with those who are less fortunate. We don't really get much more with the dad, by the way, because he pretty much dies soon after this. And then Hindley gets to the point where he's tired of Heathcliff and throws a rock at him. He's like, how can I pay him back? The way he's going to pay him back, basically, is to become successful and rich and rub it in Hindley's face because he knows he's going to flame out, or he's just so goddamn confident that Hindley's a fucking putz, which all these things can be true. Heathcliff and Kathy have this thing on this cliff. Yes, the Heathcliff, as it were, where they pretend it's a castle and all this, and they do role-playing, not that kind, keep your minds out of the gutter. And Kathy wants a good life. And she does love Heathcliff, but she doesn't feel he can provide that. So basically, if he can give her the life that she feels she deserves, and don't get me wrong, people deserve a really good life. You shouldn't live in, you know, like, feeling destitute or whatever. You shouldn't sacrifice what you feel you deserve. But there are also levels to this, and if you have somebody that loves you, you can build something with somebody. Then there are some guard dogs, basically, at Edgar's household. Well, I mean, Edgar, who is like the heir apparent to this whole fortune. I called him Edgar Figaro just because I'm Final Fantasy minded. And she, being Kathy, ends up getting attacked, you know, by the dogs inadvertently because they're guard dogs. They're good guard dogs. Heathcliff is sent back to Wuthering Heights, which is a little side area. And Kathy is taken care of and kind of gets a taste of the good life and decides she wants to basically stand around and, or be around and be, doted upon and all that. And she says, go on, Heathcliff, make your way and bring me back the world. And then basically Heathcliff puts a plague on both your houses. And Heathcliff then kind of is like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go do this, but I'm kind of sick of Henley. I'm sick of all of them. This Kathy is a full-on bitch. I mean, both Heathcliff is an asshole, and Kathy is a full-on bitch in this. And I'm just saying how they interpreted all this stuff. And then back in the 19th century, you could just slap women inadvertently and apparently get away with it. Good thing that doesn't happen now. And I noticed that Leo G. Carroll's pipe was very unwieldy. That's not a euphemism. Seriously, how did they get anything into those pipes, and what happens if they get clogged? What are you going to clean that thing with? So, Kathy is talking to Ellen, because this is a flashback, and that it would degrade her to marry Heathcliff because of the state Heathcliff is in. Even though Heathcliff loves her and seems to have done well, but after the father died, Henley took over, and now it's up to Heathcliff to make his way in the world. Henley shows up again drunk as hell, because Henley left for a while. I don't know if he went away on business or the horse decided to leave him and he walked back. So, yeah, let's just say Kathy suffers from a state of delirium, aka she's a woman, so we must medicate her like crazy. They suggest cream and butter and lots of sugar. I don't think that the doctors of the 19th century knew how to cure people. And she's staying with Edgar, and she got a taste of the good life. Heathcliff comes back from the U.S., and he seems to have done well for himself. Isabella, who is Edgar's sister, by the way, does fall for Heathcliff and really does want to take care of him. And, you know, Geraldine Fitzgerald back then, beautiful woman. You know, I know character-wise it doesn't really matter, because when your heart belongs to somebody, it belongs to somebody. But the movie's almost frustrating in the fact that the way these two actors, you know, act around each other, it's kind of frustrating. Like, how stupid they are, essentially. Like, they love each other, they hate each other. I mean, yes, back then divorce was a lot more difficult, but come on. I mean, come on. Anyway, Henley kind of snaps and says, I'll have my gold and I'll have your blood and, you know, hell can have your soul. He's threatening to shoot him, but he's a coward because Henley's always been a coward. And Heathcliff essentially, you know, marries Isabella, but that love for Kathy is still around. And they do love each other, but it's too late. She's trying to keep Heathcliff for herself, despite the fact she has Edgar and everything she wants except Heathcliff. And Isabella vows to take care of Heathcliff, just love her, but no, he can't do that because that would be too goddamn easy. I did know, could Merle have slapped me like that next, but I don't have issues, you have issues. And then basically, the doctor basically arrives at Wuthering Heights and says, oh yeah, Kathy's ill, by the way. Henley's a full-on drunk, and Heathcliff kind of is just keeping him there to keep him subservient. Isabella is frustrated because the guy's a drunk and making the house miserable. Isabella means well, but she just can never measure up to Kathy, who, by the way, Heathcliff, full-on dick. Kathy, not much better. So then they have one final embrace. And she dies at the window as they're looking out at the cliff area, or a matte painting of it. And then Ellen basically says, goodbye, my sweet Kathy, goodbye, Heathcliff, you know, may you continue to have great things in the afterlife, or whatever, I don't know. That's Wuthering Heights from 1939. It is what it is. It's not the greatest love story ever told. I'm sorry, folks. It's not. It's really fucking not. But is it a well-made movie? Yes. Is it well acted? Absolutely. And was cinematography very good, especially for the time? Absolutely. So, yeah, it's worth watching. It just, your mileage may vary when it comes to movies like this. I will not be watching other adaptations before the new one, because there's only so much time in the day. But there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Rentlin. Until we revisit Wuthering Heights again in just about 24 hours, happy trails to you.